Progressive Insurance. Highlights courtesy of Seattle Sports 710 Seahawks Radio Network as the Seattle Seahawks dominate and destroy the New England Patriots 29-13. Super Bowl 60 is complete. They win their second Super Bowl in franchise history. We are on to Super Bowl 61 and ESPN, ABC, Disney Super Bowl. And congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks, who earned it from start to finish, all three phases. Big game recap brought to you by SoFi. Get your money right. Along with Michelle Smallman, Chris Canty, Evan Cohen with you. Good morning, everybody, and congrats to the Seahawks.
How much does it hurt you to say that as a Patriots fan?
It hurts, but it wasn't close. So it's not like I sit here, guys, and say, my team should have done this, that, the other thing. Better coached, better defense, better offense, better special teams, all go to Seattle. There was nothing in that game last night that New England did better than Seattle other than lose. After
the Mac Hollins touchdown early in the fourth quarter, how much of 28-3 came in the back of your mind? Maybe we can mount a comeback and get back in this game.
Yeah, I thought about it for a second, small CC, but I'll tell you something. Seattle is better coached. They have a better defense, opportunistic, and their quarterback, to his credit, when he needed to win games this year, he won games. And when he needed to prevent losses, like last night, he prevents losses. That's the evolution of Sam Darnold. CC's been hyping it all year, Smalls. To his credit, Darnold was great. You're not going to hear me say a bad word about the Seahawks. They kicked my team's butt last night.
Yeah, they really did. This group, their mantra all season long has been loose and focused, and that's exactly what you saw yesterday in the Super Bowl. They kept saying, we didn't feel the pressure of this game. It felt like another football game to them, and it truly feels like they came out and played that way. And Ev, I'm a little surprised to hear you say that they were better in all phases, just because I'm surprised to hear you, of all people, say that the New England Patriots don't have better coaches than the Seattle Seahawks. And I know today is all about the Seahawks, but just to hear you say that, given the reverence you have for Josh McDaniels and, of course, Mike Vrabel, I was surprised that you went there.
Well, based on last night, it's not close. The Super Bowl is the one-game sample size. You work your butt off. Cece could say this better than I can. You work your butt off all year to get the one-game biggest sample size of all time, right? There's no greater sample size on a one-game basis than that game. And in that game, Mike McDonald destroyed Josh McDaniels. Clint Kubiak destroyed Mike Vrabel and Zach Kerr and company.
I don't know
yes,
about that.
He did. Yes, he did. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why he did. I'm going to tell you why.
Break it down.
It was very clear from the beginning what New England's game plan was. Wait for a Darnold turnover. That was the game plan. Wait for a Darnold turnover and try to just wait and wait and wait and outlast them. And what Kubiak did on offense, and Darnold specifically did on offense, was give them nothing. The Patriots trying to break routes early didn't work. And I think the idea of running the football and just being safe was the smartest thing, because teams are not that smart at times, and they try to take it out of their normal game plan. They didn't allow New England to wait for that turnover because it never happened. I give the Seahawks all the credit in the world.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that Clint Kubiak kicked Zach Kerr and Mike Vrabel's butts when it comes to the X's and O's. That defense, anybody associated with the New England Patriots defense has nothing to hang their head about in terms of their performance last night at all. Those guys were downright dominant. The only touchdown that they gave up on the offensive side of the ball was off of a short field sack fumble on Drake May forced by Byron Murphy. That was it. They essentially dominated the first three quarters of that game. Now, did they give up some explosive plays to the Seattle Seahawks? Sure. But they bowed up most of the time in the red zone. The Seattle Seahawks were 1 of 4 in the scoring area. So I don't know that the New England Patriots defense got embarrassed or got their butts kicked last night. I thought it was the offense that gave up the ghost, Josh McDaniels being awful, and Drake May with the turnovers. It's something that we've seen throughout the course of this postseason. Granted, he's played against really good defenses, but you got to find ways to be able to protect the football. And coming into this game, we spent more time focusing on Sam Darnold potentially giving the ball away than Drake May. And there was only one quarterback in last night's matchup that actually turned the ball over in the postseason.
Multiple times last night from Drake May. He was not good. McDaniels wasn't good. They didn't come up with anything to offset that Seattle defense. Seattle destroyed the Patriots left tackle, their rookie left tackle, top 5 pick. Will Campbell had 14 pressures allowed last night, the most of any single player in any game this entire NFL season. And you know what? Will Campbell deserves to be destroyed today, more for what happened after the game. You can't walk away and not speak. If you won the Super Bowl, I promise you would have talked. So if you ever win the Super Bowl, I don't want you talking. Because if you're going to lose, you got to stand up there and face the music. You got your butt kicked last night. I understand you're a rookie, and I understand the fact that this Seattle defense is unbelievable. But if you're going to lose the Super Bowl and not speak, that means, God willing, you win the Super Bowl, I don't want to hear from you. I mean, let's be honest. You got to stand there and take it, unfortunately. And I'm not going to sit here and praise my team. I'm just not going to do it. They had an amazing season, no question. But last night was not close. Smalls, all of the hype everyone was saying all week long at Radio Row or Media Row, where we were in San Francisco, was Seattle could kick their butts. And I didn't believe that could happen because I believed that New England would find a way. And they did not find a way, and Seattle kicked their butts last night.
Yeah, well, we went through the exercise, right, where we looked position group by position group to see who had the edge, and it was overwhelmingly Seattle. Then we looked at the way that both of these teams had been playing in the playoffs leading up to this game, and Seattle was far more dominant than New England was. We were worried about Drake May's shoulder, and we were worried about the protection. He was sacked 5 times in each of New England's first 3 playoff games, Chargers, Texans, and Broncos, and then 6 times last night. It was unbelievable. And the question that we were wondering is, what version are we going to get of Sam Darnold? Yes, he's been great all season. Yes, he was great in the NFC Championship game, even dealing with that oblique. But the Super Bowl is a completely different story, completely different stage. We didn't know if he would revert back to seeing ghosts. And he went from seeing ghosts to the boogeyman. What an unbelievable journey for Sam Darnold to bounce around from all these different teams after being the number 3 overall pick by the Jets. And he is a Super Bowl champion, the first one in his draft class before Baker Mayfield, before Josh Allen, and before Lamar Jackson, just the way we all wrote it up.
Oh, yeah. Right. And he earned every part of it. CC, you were high on him all year, but in many ways, I took you being high on him, and I probably should have dissected it even more than we did, at least me personally. High on him in terms of, look at his win-loss, 31-7 over the last 2 years, including playoffs for 2 different teams, explosive plays, touchdowns, etc. That's like when everything's going right. What about when things get tough, like in the playoffs, right? He had 5 touchdowns and no interceptions. But last night, I think the best part of what he did was nothing. Like, as crazy as he did nothing that could hurt them. And that was the most impressive thing for me, because New England all game was sitting there saying, keep it close, 2-score, 19-7. Like, that's close enough. If he throws an interception, you get a pick 6, who knows what happens? Maybe it changes the momentum. He never did that. And that, to me, was the most impressive part. The seeing ghosts is like almost, for lack of a better way of saying it, you're playing scared.
Yeah.
He doesn't play scared at all anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the seeing ghost bit has got to go away.
No, it's
completely.
done. It's done.
It's over with
done.
now. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback now. He made some throws last night. He put the ball in some tight spots with some sticky coverage that could have gone the other way. New England wasn't able to come up with those plays. And you just thought, with the talent disparity, that New England had to find some of those turnovers off of those 50-50 balls. They just weren't able to do that. But I thought the best thing that Sam did was just taking care of the football, understanding that punt is a good play, and I thought that he was really good with his mobility within the pocket. That's one of the things that's understated about Sam Darnold's game. New England had several blitzes, several pressures where they got a free rusher, and Sam was able to evade the first defender and be able to buy time to get rid of the football, or on one instance be able to convert with his legs for a first down. I think that's important in terms of making sure that Seattle doesn't have a whole lot of negative plays, and that was the difference in the game. Which offense mitigated the negative plays that the opposing defense could force? And I thought that Sam Darnold and the Seahawks offense did that much better than the New England Patriots. We saw that game start to tilt when the turnover started to happen on New England side, and that just never was the case for Seattle. Another thing that we got to talk about, Clint Kubiak's adjustments to how the New England Patriots were defending him, just being willing to take the 5-yard completion and try to move the chains. They didn't have an opportunity to take a lot of shots over the top, didn't hit a lot of shots over the top, but they were patient, they were methodical, they stayed with Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. They gave him plenty of touches, but I thought that they avoided the negative plays, and that was the biggest difference.
Yeah, all week I kept saying brains versus brawn to some extent, right? New England's brains had to come across in this. Well, what a joke that is, because Seattle's the smarter team.
Can I ask you a question? Why did the New England Patriots voluntarily become one-dimensional as a team, as an offense? I don't understand that. to have 13 rush attempts by your running backs through the first 3 quarters makes no sense to me. Their offensive line is the sore spots, particularly the left side of the offensive line where you're starting 2 rookies in Will Campbell and Jared Wilson. Why on God's green earth do you voluntarily become one-dimensional? It makes no sense.
Did you see the fullback in the game? I don't think I saw him once, Westover.
No, I don't remember seeing him, but here's the part that bothers me. It wasn't as if the scoreboard necessitated that you have Drake May drop back as much as he did.
Yeah, it was
It was a 12-0 game going into the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
You didn't have to abandon the run game, but that's exactly what happened. And I can promise you this, when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks defensive linemen, they pass rush a hell of a lot better when they know it's pass. And essentially, that was the game. They were playing the run on the way to the quarterback. And if you're Josh McDaniels, there's no world that exists where you can allow that to happen. That made no sense to me. I thought it was a miserable game from Josh McDaniels. All of the praise that he's gotten this year for the development of Drake May, and rightfully so, all of that goes out the window with that performance that he had yesterday because he didn't give his young quarterback a chance.
It was awful for New England, and Seattle earned every part of it. They were the best team all year. They went 4th of the season. They had tough playoff wins, and they had this Super Bowl over pretty quickly retroactively. You thought maybe New England could have a chance as it was going, but retroactively, it's like, oh, they hadn't. Like that first drive that Christian Gonzalez didn't pick off a pass. That's it. It was so, because like seriously, that's what they were waiting for. It's an odd thing, and I get it though, but it's an odd thing to say Darnold will give us the game.
Why are they? I don't think that they were waiting for that.
I think that absolutely they were.
I think they were being aggressive in trying to take their shots and force turnovers, but the offense didn't give them anything, Ev. They had 51 yards at halftime. It wasn't as if the New England Patriots was like, oh, you know what? We're going to call a game where offense is only going to have 50 yards at halftime or 80 yards after the end of the 3rd quarter. That wasn't the game plan. The game plan wasn't, hey, let's not have any offense. That's not the game plan.
And if it was, that's a bigger problem.
Yeah, like that's not the game plan. Like the game plan was our offense has got to do something. And guess what? The best defenses are going to wear down if your offense doesn't give you any production. And that was the reality of it. And then on one of the most promising drives that New England had in the 4th quarter, your quarterback throws an errant throw in the middle of the field that gets picked off by Julian Love. Terrible. It was a completely unnecessary play from Drake May's part. But guess what? He was pressing because there was so much pressure on him down to down because the offensive coordinator and play caller Josh McDaniels refused to run the damn football. My God, it's just a disgusting game by Josh McDaniels.
Well, the good thing is this. Super Bowl 61 was always going to be better than Super Bowl 60, but last night guaranteed that Super Bowl 61 on ESPN and ABC and Disney and here on ESPN Radio, all the coverage all year next year is going to be better because last night stunk. Except if you're a Seahawks fan, but you know what? They deserve their flowers today, CC. That's for sure.
Guys, quick PSA, forgetting Valentine's Day flowers is not the move. Trust me.